Commander Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of the orbital defense platform, watching the stars. New Busan was a peaceful world. 9 million humans lived there in cities that sparkled like jewels under the twin suns. Below him, the planet turned slowly, showing green forests and blue oceans. His sister, Mi-young, worked in the medical center in the capital city. She sent him messages every day about her patients and the children she helped. The morning started like any other. Hyun-woo drank his coffee and read reports from the mining stations. The colonists had built a good life here. Farmers grew crops that fed the whole system. Engineers built machines that made life easier. Teachers educated children who would grow up among the stars. Everything was normal until the sensors screamed, "Commander, we have contacts." Sensor operator Jae-ho called out. 30 ships dropping out of hyperspace. They are big, sir. Really big. Hyun-woo put down his coffee and looked at the display. The ships were massive. Each one was the size of a small city. They had strange designs with sharp edges and dark metal. These were not human ships. These were not any ships in the database. "Send a greeting transmission," Hyun-woo ordered. "Standard first contact protocol." Communications officer Soo Min worked at her station. "Transmission sensor. No response yet." The alien ships moved into formation around New Busan. They positioned themselves like hunters surrounding prey. Hyun-woo felt his stomach turn cold. This did not look like a peaceful contact mission. "Sir," Soo Min called, "we are receiving a transmission. It is not directed at us. It appears to be some kind of broadcast signal." "Put it on screen," Hyun-woo said. The main display changed. It showed a creature that looked like a cross between a lizard and a bird. Its skin was dark green with scales. Its eyes were yellow and cold. When it spoke, its voice was harsh like grinding. "Metal." "Greetings, viewers of the Velkari Empire," the creature said. "I am Supreme Overlord Thexmar. Today we bring you a special entertainment. We have discovered a new species. They call themselves humans. 9 million of them live on the world below us." Hyun-woo felt his blood freeze. This was a broadcast. They were broadcasting to their own people. "These humans are soft creatures," Thexmar continued. "They have no real weapons, no strong military. They will provide excellent sport for our amusement. The hunt begins now." The transmission ended. Hyun-woo stared at the screen in horror. Hunt. They had called it a hunt. "All stations, battle alert," Hyun-woo shouted. "Launch all fighters! Get me the governor immediately!" Down on the planet, Governor Dae-hyun was in his office when the alarm started. His assistant Young-ho rushed in with a pale face. "Governor, the defense platform is signaling red alert. Alien ships in orbit. Commander Hyun-woo wants to speak with you right now." Dae-hyun activated the communication system. Hyun-woo appeared on the screen looking grim. "Governor, we have a serious problem. 30 alien warships are in orbit. They just broadcast a message calling us prey. They plan to hunt us for entertainment." "Entertainment," Dae-hyun repeated. He could not believe what he was hearing. "Did you try to communicate with them?" "Yes, sir. No response to our peaceful transmissions. But they are broadcasting to their own people. They called it a hunt." Dae-hyun felt sick. 9 million people lived on New Busan. Most were civilians, families with children, scientists and farmers and teachers. "What are our defenses? We have the orbital platform and 12 fighters. Against 30 ships of that size, we cannot win a direct fight. I recommend immediate evacuation." 9 million people, Governor, Dae-hyun said quietly. "We cannot evacuate 9 million people quickly enough. Captain Jin Ho was leading a patrol in his fighter when the alien ships appeared. He had been flying over the southern continent checking the weather stations. Now he was racing back toward E, the orbital platform with 11 other pilots behind him. "All fighters, this is command." Yunwoo's voice came through the radio. "Alien ships are hostile. Repeat, hostile. Protect the evacuation ships at all costs." Jin Ho looked at his instruments. 12 light fighters against 30 massive warships. The math was simple and terrible. But they had families down there. His wife Yoon Ja worked at the university. His son Min-soo was only 8 years old. "Understood, command," Jin Ho replied. "We will do our duty." The alien ships began to move. They descended toward the atmosphere like dark clouds bringing a storm. The first ship reached the outer atmosphere and opened fire. The weapons were like nothing humans had seen. Beams of red energy that could melt steel. Explosive rounds that could destroy city blocks. The aliens began their attack on the largest city first. Mi-young was treating a patient when the first explosions hit. The medical center shook like an earthquake. Through the window she could see buildings burning. People were running in the streets screaming. "Doctor," Nurse Haewon called. "We are receiving emergency signals from all over the city. Massive casualties." Mi-young looked out the window again. An alien ship hung in the sky above them like a metal mountain. As she watched it fired another blast. A school exploded in flames. "Prepare all emergency medical stations," she ordered. "This is going to be bad." But it was worse than bad. It was systematic. The aliens were not just attacking. They were hunting. Ship by ship, they surrounded groups of fleeing humans. They herded them like animals. Then they killed them slowly while their cameras recorded everything. Governor Dae-hyun tried one more time to communicate. He stood in his office with the city burning outside his window. He activated the emergency broadcast system. "Alien ships. This is Governor Dae-hyun of New Busan Colony. We are a peaceful people. We have done nothing to harm you. Please, we can discuss whatever problems you have with us. There are children here, families. Please respond." The response came quickly. It was Thexmar again, but this time he was laughing. "Little human, your pleas are amusing. But you misunderstand. We are not here because you harmed us. We are here because killing you will entertain our people. Your deaths will be broadcast across the Velkari Empire. Billions will watch you die. You should feel honored." "You cannot do this," Dae-hyun said. "This is genocide. The galaxy has laws against this. The galaxy has laws for those too weak too." "Break them," Thexmar replied. "We are strong, you are weak. That is the only law that matters. The show begins now." Captain Jin Ho made his final transmission as his fighter burned and fell toward the planet. His weapons were empty, his ship was dying. Below him, the cities of New Busan were burning like funeral pyres. Earth Command. "This is Captain Jin Ho of New Busan Defense Force," he said into his radio. "The colony is lost. 30 alien warships. They call themselves Velkari. They are not just killing us. They are broadcasting it. They are laughing." His voice broke as he spoke the last words. "Tell Earth. Tell them what happened here. They wanted a show. 9 million people. They streamed our deaths for entertainment." The fighter crashed into the forest. The transmission ended, but it had already begun its journey through space toward Earth carrying the terrible news. Above New Busan, the Velkari ships continued their hunt. The cameras recorded everything. Every scream, every death. Every moment of human suffering was broadcast to billions of alien viewers who cheered and laughed at the slaughter. The massacre had begun. The stream was live, and somewhere in the darkness between stars the signal raced toward Earth where 9 Billion humans waited unknowing that their worst nightmare was about to begin. The emergency session in the Earth Council chambers had never seen anything like this. President So-jin sat at the head of the table staring at the main screen. For 3 hours they had watched Captain Jin-ho transmission play over and over. The same terrible words each time. The same breaking voice. The same impossible truth. "Confirmed, ma'am," Admiral Taemin said quietly. "Our deep space sensors picked up the signal 18 hours ago. It took time to decode, but the transmission is real. New Busan is under attack." So Jin looked around the room at the faces of her advisors. General Won-ho from the Army, Admiral Taemin from the Space Fleet, Dr. Jae-sung from the Science Division, Intelligence Chief Sang-woo. All of them looked like they had seen ghosts. "How many people live on New Busan?" she asked. 9,200,000, Won-ho replied. "Mostly civilians, some mining operations, a small defense force, nothing that could stop 30 warships." Dr. Jae-sung cleared his throat. "Madam President, we have managed to intercept more of the alien transmissions. The species calls itself the Velkari Empire. They appear to have broadcast technology far beyond ours." "What kind of transmissions?" So-jin asked. Jae-sung looked uncomfortable. "Entertainment broadcasts, ma'am. They are streaming the attack live. To their population. We estimate billions of viewers across their empire." The room fell silent. So-jin felt her stomach turn. "Entertainment. They were killing 9 million humans for entertainment." "Show me," she said. "Ma'am, I do not recommend," Admiral Taemin began. "Show me," So-jin repeated firmly. The main screen changed. It showed the view. From a Velkari ship above New Busan, the planet looked beautiful from space with white clouds and blue oceans. Then the view switched to ground-level cameras. The city of New Seoul was burning. Humans ran through the streets carrying children and belongings. The alien ships followed them like hunters following deer. The Velkari camera operator was laughing. The sound came through the speakers like broken glass. On the sides of the screen, alien text scrolled by. Dr. Jae-sung had been working on translation. "The text appears to be viewer comments," he said quietly. "They are rating the humans' deaths. They are making bets on how long people will survive. They are treating this like a game." President So-jin watched a family with 2 small children run into a building. An alien blast tore through the wall. The building collapsed. The Velkari commentator made excited noises like a sports announcer describing a goal. "Turn it off," So-jin said. "Ma'am, there is more. The signal is continuous. They have been broadcasting for 6 hours now. They show no signs of stopping." "How long until we can send help?" Admiral Taemin shook his head. "New Busan is 43 light-years away. Our fastest ships would take 2 months to reach them. By then..." He did not finish the sentence. Everyone knew what he meant. By then, there would be no one left to save. Intelligence Chief Sang-woo leaned forward. "Madam President, we have been monitoring communications from other human colonies. Word is spreading fast. People are demanding action." "What action?" So-jin asked. "We have no ships that can reach them in time. We have no weapons that can fight. 30 alien warships. The people do not care about the practical problems, ma'am. They only care that humans are being murdered for alien entertainment." Across the solar system, the reaction was the same everywhere. On Mars Colony Administrator Park Kyung-hee called an emergency meeting. The colonists gathered in the main hall to watch the terrible broadcast from New Busan. "Those could be our children," said teacher Lee Hyo-jin, pointing at the screen. "Those could be our families." Mining foreman Kim Dong-min stood up. What is Earth doing about this? Earth is 43 light-years away from New Busan, Kyung-hee replied. The same distance we are. There is nothing anyone can do. There has to be something, protested engineer Choi Min-ho. We cannot just watch. 9 million people die. But they could only watch. All across human space, people gathered around screens and watched the impossible horror unfold. The Valkyrie had turned genocide into a television show. Back on Earth, Admiral Tae-min was in his private office when his aide knocked on the door. Lieutenant Commander Yoon Bo-ra entered with a message pad. Sir, we have confirmed communication from New Busan Defense Command. It came through 20 minutes ago. Tae-min took the pad and read the message. His face went pale. Get me President So-jin immediately. The message was from Commander Hyun-woo on the orbital platform. It was short and desperate. Earth Command. This is New Busan Orbital Defense. Colony cities are burning. Alien ships hunting survivors for sport. They are broadcasting our deaths to billions of viewers. My sister Mi-young is trapped in the medical center. Please tell our families we tried to fight. Tell them we died as humans. Commander Hyun-woo out. The transmission had taken 18 hours to reach Earth. By now, the orbital platform was probably destroyed. President So-jin read the message in her office. Outside the windows, she could see protesters gathering. Thousands of people holding signs demanding action, demanding justice for New Busan. Ma'am, her secretary Young-hee said through the intercom. The Martian colonies are calling. The asteroid mining stations are calling. Every human settlement is demanding to know what we are going to do. So Jin looked out at the crowds. These were ordinary people, teachers and workers and parents. But their faces showed something she had never seen before, a cold anger that went beyond normal human emotion. Dr. Jae-sung entered without knocking. His face was excited and terrible at the same time. Madam President, we have made a breakthrough. We have traced the source of the Valkyrie broadcast signals. We know where they are transmitting from. Where? A star system approximately 67 light-years from Earth. Our analysis suggests it is their home system. The signals are being relayed from there to their entire empire. So-jin felt something change inside her, something cold and hard that she had never felt before. How many Valkyrie are there? She asked. Based on the broadcast data, we estimate their empire contains roughly 40 billion individuals across 200 worlds. 40 billion, So-jin repeated. Yes, ma'am. But ma'am, there is something else. We have been analyzing their technology from the broadcast signals. Their ships are advanced, but not impossibly so. Their weapons are powerful, but they rely on size and numbers. They do not appear to expect serious resistance. Why would they expect resistance? So-jin said quietly. They probably think we are all as helpless as the colonists on New Busan. She turned back to the window. The crowds were getting bigger. More people arrived every hour. Signs and banners filled the streets. But the faces were what struck her. The cold rage in every human face. Dr. Jae-sung, I want you to set up a special project. Full priority. All the resources you need. What kind of project, ma'am? Find out everything about the Valkyrie, their technology, their worlds, their weaknesses, everything. Yes, ma'am. May I ask what you are planning? President So-jin watched the crowds outside, watched the human faces, filled with cold anger. 9 million people were dying for alien entertainment. The galaxy was watching humanity being hunted for sport. The Valkyrie wanted to broadcast a show, she said. They wanted entertainment. They wanted to show the galaxy what happens to weak species. She turned back to Dr. Jae-sung. Her eyes were as cold as space between stars. We are going to give them a show they will never forget, and we are going to broadcast it to every species in the galaxy. They will learn what happens when you mistake human compassion for human weakness. Outside, the protesters chanted for justice. But President So-Jin knew that justice was not what humanity was feeling. What burned in the hearts of 9 billion humans was something much older and much more dangerous. The Velkari had made a terrible mistake. They had shown humanity what monsters looked like. Now humanity was going to show them something much worse. They were going to show them what monsters looked like when they got angry. 6 months had passed since New Busan went silent. The Velkari broadcasts had stopped after 72 hours. 72 hours of systematic murder broadcast to billions of alien viewers. Now there was only silence from the dead world, but Earth was not silent. Earth was working. Captain Sung-min walked through the massive shipyard orbiting Luna. 6 months ago, this had been a civilian construction facility building cargo ships and passenger liners. Now it built only one thing: warships, long dark ships with armor thick as building walls and weapons that could crack planets. "How many ships will be ready by launch date?" he asked Chief Engineer Bo-Ra. Bo-Ra consulted her tablet. She looked tired. Everyone looked tired these days. The entire human race had been working without rest since New Busan died. 237 ships, sir, all armed with the new weapon systems, all designed for one purpose, and that purpose is complete destruction of enemy targets, sir. No prisoners, no survivors, no mercy. Sung-min nodded. That was the order from Earth Command. The Velkari had wanted entertainment. They had turned genocide into a show. Now humanity would give them a different kind of show. On Mars, the weapons laboratories worked day and night. Dr. Nam Woo-jin had not slept properly in months. His team had designed weapons that no human had ever imagined before. Weapons that could sterilize entire planets, weapons that could crack the cores of worlds. "Are you sure these will work?" his assistant Dr. Lee Kang-ho asked. "They will work," Woo-jin replied. "We tested them on dead asteroids. They work very well, too well perhaps." "Do you have doubts about what we are doing?" Woo-jin looked at the weapon. Schematics on his screen. Devices that could kill billions. Tools of absolute destruction. The Velkari broadcast the murder of 9 million humans for entertainment. He said quietly. They laughed while children died. They made bets on how long families would survive. Do I have doubts? No. I sleep very well knowing what these weapons will do. In the asteroid belt, Mining Chief Park Il-sung supervised the extraction of materials. Every human mining operation had been converted to war production. Titanium for armor, rare metals for weapons, uranium for the special devices that Dr. Woo-jin had designed. "How much have we extracted?" asked his supervisor, Director Kim Hye-jin. "Enough to build a fleet that could conquer half the galaxy," Il-sung replied. "But we are not building it to conquer. We are building it for something else." "What? Justice? Or maybe revenge? I am not sure there is a difference anymore." The workers in the asteroid mines were mostly volunteers. People who had lost friends or family on New Busan. They worked 18-hour shifts without complaint. They hauled metal and processed ore with the dedication of people building a monument to their dead. On Earth, President So-jin met with her war council every day. The meetings were held in a special room deep underground, no windows, no decorations, just maps and screens showing the progress of their preparations. "Status report," she said as Admiral Tae-min entered. "Fleet construction is on schedule, ma'am. We will have over 200 ships ready for departure in 3 months. Each ship carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon. What about intelligence? On the Velkari, Dr. Jae Sung activated his display. We have monitored their communications for 6 months. They appear to have forgotten about New Busan completely. It was just entertainment to them. They have moved on to other amusements. Other amusements. They destroyed a peaceful alien species called the Mindari 2 months ago. 300 million dead. Also broadcast for entertainment. Last week, they attacked a world of creatures called the Zephians. The broadcasts are still ongoing, so Jin felt the familiar cold anger rise in her chest. The Velkari were not just humanity enemies. They were a disease that infected the galaxy, a cancer that killed entire species for fun. Do we have their fleet, positions? Yes, ma'am. Most of their military is spread across their empire maintaining order. Their home system has only minimal defenses. They do not expect any serious threats. Why would they? General Wan Ho said grimly. No one has ever fought back before. Every species they encounter is either destroyed or enslaved. They have no experience with real war. They are about to get an education, so Jin said. In the deep space training facilities beyond Pluto, the new fleet practiced maneuvers. Captain Lee Dong-ho commanded a squadron of 12 ships. Each ship in his squadron could have defeated the entire New Busan Defense Force. All ships prepare for attack formation drill 7, he announced over the radio. Remember, we practice the way we fight. We fight the way we practice. No mistakes, no mercy. The ships moved through space like sharks hunting prey, fast, silent, deadly. The crews had trained for 6 months. They knew their jobs perfectly. Point the ships at Velkari targets. Fire the weapons. Move to the next target. Sir, his communications officer, Lieutenant Choi Young-soo, called. Message from Fleet Command. Admiral Tae-min wants to speak with all squadron leaders. Dong-ho accepted the transmission. Admiral Tae-min's face appeared on his screen. The admiral looked older than he had 6 months ago. The loss of his daughter on New Busan had changed him into something harder. All squadron leaders listen carefully, Tae-min said. In 2 months, we depart for Velkari space. This is not a rescue mission. This is not a diplomatic mission. This is an extermination mission. We are going to destroy the Velkari Empire completely. Every ship, every world, every living creature. The transmission paused. Tae-min looked directly into the camera. Some of you may have moral concerns about what we are planning. Let me remind you what the Velkari did to New Busan. They hunted our people like animals. They broadcast our children deaths for entertainment. They laughed while families burned alive. They turned genocide into a television show. Another pause. Tae-min's voice became even colder. We are not going to negotiate with them. We are not going to accept their surrender. We are going to kill every single one of them. 40 billion Velkari across 200 worlds. All of them will die. That is our mission. That is our duty. That is our justice. The transmission ended. Dong-ho looked around his bridge at his crew. They were young officers mostly. People who had joined the fleet to explore space and meet alien species. Now they were trained killers preparing for the largest genocide in galactic history. Sir, Young-soo asked quietly, do you think we are doing the right thing? Dong-ho thought about New Busan. About 9 million humans who had died for alien entertainment. About families burned alive while billions of creatures cheered. Lieutenant Y have watched the Velkari. Broadcasts. All 72 hours of them. I have seen what they did to our people. What they are still doing to other species. The Velkari are not just our enemies. They are enemies of all life in the galaxy. He looked out at the stars. somewhere. Among those stars, the Velkari Empire continued its reign of terror. Continued broadcasting the deaths of innocent species for entertainment. We are not going to war, Lieutenant. War implies that both sides have a chance to win. What we are doing is pest control. We are removing a disease from the galaxy. The only question is whether we can kill them all before they kill more innocent people. Far away in Velkari space, Supreme Overlord Thex Mar reviewed the ratings from their latest entertainment broadcast. The destruction of the Zephian homeworld had been very popular with viewers, almost as popular as the human colony had been. Excellent numbers, his entertainment director Vel Koth reported. Billions of viewers, very high engagement. The audience particularly enjoyed the part where we hunted the young Zephians through their crystal cities. Good. Schedule the next hunt for 2 weeks from now. I want to maintain our audience. What species should we target next, my lord? Something new, something that will provide good sport. Perhaps those traders who call themselves the Benthans. I hear they have interesting death rituals. Neither of them knew that humanity was coming. Neither of them knew that their empire had only 2 months left to exist. They continued planning their next entertainment broadcast while 200 human warships prepared to show them what real entertainment looked like. The galaxy was about to learn that there were worse things than the Velkari Empire. It was about to meet humanity when humanity stopped being civilized. The Velkari border patrol ship Hunting Glory was conducting routine scans when the impossible happened. 237 human warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Captain Vex Tor had never seen ships like these, dark metal hulls that seemed to swallow light, weapons that made his ship look like a child toy. Unknown vessels. "This is Velkari Border Command," he transmitted. "You are entering restricted space. State your business or prepare to be destroyed." The response came immediately. It was in perfect Velkari language. The voice was cold and empty of emotion. "Velkari ship, this is Admiral Tae Min of the Earth Defense Force. You broadcast the murder of 9 million humans for entertainment. Your species committed genocide for sport. We are here to collect payment." Vextor laughed. These humans thought they could threaten the mighty Velkari Empire. "Little creatures, you are far from home. Turn around now, or we will add you to our next entertainment broadcast." "There will be no next broadcast," the human replied. "Your species ends today." The lead human ship fired once. A beam of pure energy cut through the Hunting Glory like it was made of paper. Vextor had time for one last thought before his ship exploded. These humans were not the soft prey species they had hunted on New Busan. Admiral Tae Min watched the alien ship burn on his display screen. Beside him, Captain Sung Min monitored the fleet status. "All ships reporting ready, sir," Sung Min said. "No damage to our forces. Enemy ship completely destroyed." "Begin Phase 1, Tae Min ordered. "Target all Velkari military installations in this system. Leave nothing operational." The human fleet spread out like wolves hunting sheep. Each ship knew its target. Each crew knew their job. They had practiced this scenario 1,000 times. The Velkari had 6 military bases in the outer system. Within an hour, all 6 bases were clouds of burning debris. On the Velkari colony world of Vex Prime, Governor Korth Val received the first reports with disbelief. His military advisors stood around the command table looking confused and frightened. "How? Many human ships?" he demanded. "Over 200, sir," replied Intelligence Officer Zethmar. "All heavily armed, all using technology we have never seen before." 200 ships, Korth Val repeated. The humans had 12 fighters at New Busan. How do they suddenly have 200 warships? Sir, we believe they have been building them since the New Busan incident. Our intelligence suggests their entire civilization has been converted to war production. Korth Val felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Real fear. The Velkari Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. No species had ever fought back. No species had ever built fleets to challenge them. Send a message to the human fleet, he ordered. Tell them we are willing to negotiate. The response came within minutes. It was a video transmission showing a human female in a military uniform. Her name appeared on screen as Major Ye Jin. Her eyes were like ice. Velkari Governor. This is Major Ye Jin of the Earth Defense Force Fighter Wing. We received your request to negotiate. Here is our response. Behind her, hundreds of human fighter craft launched from the fleet. They moved through space like a swarm of angry insects, fast and deadly and without mercy. We do not negotiate with genocidal murderers, Ye Jin continued. We exterminate them. Your people turned the death of our children into entertainment. Now you will provide entertainment for us. The transmission ended. The human fighters began their attack on Vex Prime. Engineer Captain Dong Ho led the first wave of fighters down to the planet's surface. His squadron targeted the Velkari broadcast stations. The same stations that had transmitted the New Busan massacre to billions of viewers. Remember the mission, he told his pilots. Destroy all broadcast equipment. No survivors at the stations. They chose to make murder into entertainment. Now they pay the price. The human fighters moved like death itself. Their weapons were designed by people who had watched their families die on alien television. Dr. Wu Jin had built them to cause maximum destruction with perfect efficiency. The main broadcast tower on Vex Prime had transmitted the deaths of dozens of species. Now it became a pillar of fire reaching toward the sky. The Velkari technicians inside had no time to evacuate. They burned with their equipment. Sir, Dong Ho Wingman. Lieutenant Park Jun-ho called over the radio. I have visual on Velkari civilians fleeing the cities. Do we engage? Dong Ho thought about the question. These were not military targets. These were ordinary Velkari citizens. Children and families running in panic just like the humans had run on New Busan. Then he remembered the alien viewers who had cheered while human children died. He remembered the betting pools on human survival times. He remembered 72 hours of broadcast genocide. Negative, he replied. We are not here for the civilians. We are here for their military and their government. We are not like them. We do not murder innocents for sport. But even as he said it, Dong Ho knew the distinction would not last long. The human fleet had not come to Velkari space for a limited military action. They had come to end the Velkari Empire forever. Admiral Tai Min received reports from across the system. Every Velkari military installation destroyed, every warship eliminated, every government facility burned. The planet Vex Prime was defenseless. Sir, Communications Officer Lee Hyo-rin reported. We are receiving transmissions from other Velkari worlds. They are demanding to know what happened here. Some are sending reinforcement fleets. How many reinforcement ships? Approximately 300 vessels, sir. Coming from 6 different systems. They will arrive in 36 hours. Taemin smiled for the first time in months. 300 ships. The Velkari were finally taking humanity seriously. Too late, but at least they were trying. Signal the fleet. We depart for Velkari. Home system in 6 hours. Let their reinforcements arrive here and find empty space. By the time they realize what happened, we will be burning their homeworld. Captain Sungmin looked concerned. Sir, the home system will be heavily defended. Our intelligence suggests they have over 500 ships stationed there. 500 ships built by a species that has never faced real opposition, Taemin replied. We have 200 ships built by people who watch their children die for alien entertainment. I like our odds. On the surface of Vex Prime, the Velkari survivors gathered in the ruins of their cities. Governor Korth Val stood among the wreckage of his command center trying to understand what had happened. The humans, he said to his aide. They were supposed to be a weak species, primitive, no real military capability. Sir, perhaps our intelligence was wrong. Perhaps we underestimated them. Korth Val looked up at the sky where the human fleet hung like dark stars. They came here for revenge, not conquest, not territory, revenge. They built that entire fleet for the single purpose of destroying us. What do we do, sir? We send a message to the Supreme Overlord. We tell him that the humans are not the prey species we thought they were. We tell him that they are predators, and we tell him that they are very, very angry. But the message would arrive too late. The human fleet was already departing for the Velkari homeworld. 200 ships carrying the concentrated fury of 9 billion humans. Ships built by people who had watched genocide broadcast as entertainment. The Velkari Empire had ruled through terror for 3,000 years. They had destroyed hundreds of species. They had turned murder into art and genocide into sport. Now they were about to learn what happened when you made humanity angry. They were about to discover that there were predators in the galaxy far more dangerous than themselves. Predators that did not kill for sport or entertainment or conquest. Predators that killed for justice. And justice was about to arrive at their homeworld with 200 warships and the fury of an entire species. The Velkari homeworld of Thex Karal had never known war. For 3,000 years, it had been the safe center of an empire built on the destruction of other species. 40 billion Velkari lived on the planet in crystal cities that reached toward the clouds. Beautiful spires where they gathered to watch the broadcasts of distant genocides. Supreme Overlord. Thex Mar stood in his palace watching the entertainment from their latest conquest. The Benthan species was providing excellent sport for the viewers. Their deaths were being broadcast to every world in the Empire. My lord, his aide Velkoth entered the throne room looking troubled. We have lost contact with the Vex Prime system. No response from any stations or ships. Technical problems, Thexmar said without taking his eyes off the broadcast. Send a repair ship. Sir, we sent 3 repair ships. None have returned, and we are receiving strange reports from other border systems. Ships destroyed. Bases eliminated. Some kind of unknown fleet moving through our territory. Now Thexmar paid attention. He turned from the entertainment screen to face his aide. What kind of fleet? Human ships, sir. Over 200 vessels. They appear to be moving toward the home system. Thexmar laughed. Humans. The soft, weak species they had destroyed for entertainment on New Busan. 200 human ships. How amusing. They probably want to negotiate for the return of their dead colonists. Sir, the reports suggest these ships are heavily armed. They have destroyed everything they encountered. No survivors, no prisoners. They appear to be conducting some kind of extermination campaign. The word extermination made Thexmar pause. That was what the Velkari did to other species, not what other species did to the Velkari. How long until they arrive here? 18 hours, sir. Alert the home fleet. 500 ships should be more than enough to deal with 200 human vessels. We will destroy them and broadcast their deaths just like we did on New Busan. The viewers will enjoy the irony. But as he spoke, Thexmar felt something strange, a cold feeling in his stomach. For the first time in his life, he wondered if the Velkari Empire might not be invincible. Captain Min Ho stood on the bridge of his assault ship, New Busan Vengeance, watching the enemy homeworld grow larger on the display. Behind him, 40 other assault ships prepared for planetary landing operations. Their mission was simple: destroy every broadcast facility on the planet. Make sure the galaxy could watch. What happened to the Velkari? Sir, his sensor operator, Lieutenant Kim Dal-ho, reported. 500 Velkari ships moving to intercept. They will reach us in 6 hours. Signal Admiral Tae-min, Min Ho ordered. Tell him the welcome committee is on its way. Dr. Kyung-hee worked frantically in the Fleet Communications Center. Her job was to make sure every species in the galaxy could witness what was about to happen. Human technology had intercepted the Velkari broadcast network. Now they would use it for their own purposes. Status report, Doctor, Admiral Tae-min voice came through the intercom. We have full access to their broadcast system, sir, she replied. Every screen in the Velkari Empire. Every communication device on every world. When we begin the attack, billions of aliens will watch their masters die. What about other species in the galaxy? We have identified the communication networks of 47 different civilizations, sir. All of them will receive our broadcast. The entire galaxy will witness the end of the Velkari Empire. Tae-min felt satisfaction for the first time since his daughter died on New Busan. Begin the broadcast, Doctor. Let everyone watch. Let them all see what happens when you turn genocide into entertainment. The Velkari Home Fleet Commander Admiral Zex Thor had never lost a battle. His 500 ships were the most powerful force in known space. As he watched the human fleet approach, he felt confident of victory. Pathetic, he said to his bridge crew. 200 small ships against our mighty fleet. This will be over quickly. Sir, his communications officer reported. The humans are sending a transmission. Put it on screen. Let us hear what these creatures have to say. The main display showed Admiral Tae-min standing on his bridge. Behind him, human officers worked at their stations with cold efficiency. When Tae-min spoke, his voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Velkari Fleet, this is Admiral Tae-min of Earth. You are about to be destroyed. Your homeworld is about to burn. Your empire is about to end. This is not a negotiation. This is not a warning. This is a notification. Zex Thor laughed. Human Admiral, you are badly outnumbered. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths entertaining for our viewers. Admiral Zex Thor. Tae-min replied, using the Velkari name perfectly. You broadcast the murder of 9 million humans, including my daughter. You turned our children into entertainment. You made genocide into sport. Now you will learn what happens when you make humanity angry. The transmission ended. The human fleet opened fire. The Velkari had never experienced weapons like these. Dr. Wu Jin had designed them specifically to destroy Velkari technology. Beams that could cut through their hulls like paper, missiles that could crack their shields with single hits. Weapons built by people who had studied every detail of Velkari military capability. Admiral Zex Thor watched his flagship, Empire Glory, shake under human fire. Impossible. His shields were supposed to be impenetrable. His armor was supposed to be invincible. Damage report, he shouted. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 15, his engineer replied. Shield generators offline. Main weapons systems failing. Sir, how are they doing this? Zexthor had no answer. The humans were not just defeating his fleet, they were destroying it with casual efficiency, like farmers harvesting crops, like mechanics dismantling broken machines. Sir, his communications officer called. Emergency transmission from the surface. Supreme Overlord Thexmar wants to surrender. Signal the human fleet, Zexthor ordered. Tell them we surrender. Tell them we will negotiate. The response came from Major Ye-Jin. Her fighter squadrons were cutting through Velkhari ships like sharks through fish. Velkhari Admiral, there will be no surrender. There will be no negotiation. There will be no survivors. You wanted entertainment. You wanted to broadcast death for sport. Now the galaxy will watch you die. Commander Il-sung led the landing forces toward the planet's surface. His assault ships punched through the atmosphere like falling stars. Below them, the crystal cities of the Velkhari homeworld sparkled in the sunlight. All units remember the mission, he announced. Capture all broadcast facilities intact. The galaxy needs to watch what happens next. No Velkhari survivors at military or government installations. They chose to be monsters. Now they pay the price. The human soldiers were not the same people who had served in peaceful exploration missions a year ago. They had watched the new Busan broadcasts. They had seen their people hunted for sport. They had been transformed into something harder and colder. Supreme Overlord Thexmar stood in his palace, watching his empire die on the screens around him. Human ships destroyed his fleets with mechanical precision. Human soldiers landed in his cities like death itself. Everything he had built over 3,000 years was burning. "My lord," Velkoth said quietly, "perhaps we should try to escape. There might still be time." "Escape to where?" Thexmar replied. "They are not here for conquest. They are here for extermination. They will hunt us across the galaxy until every last Velkhari is dead." On the screens, the human broadcast was going out to every species in known space. Dr. Kyung-hee had made sure that 47 different civilizations could watch the destruction of the Velkhari Empire. The message was simple and clear. This is what happens to species that commit genocide for entertainment. This is what happens when you turn murder into sport. This is what happens when you make humanity your enemy. Thexmar watched human soldiers march through his palace. They moved with purpose and discipline. No rage, no hatred, just cold, professional determination to complete their mission. The lead soldier was Commander Il-sung. When he spoke, it was in perfect Velkhari. "Supreme Overlord Thexmar, you are responsible for the deaths of trillions of sentient beings across thousands of years. You turned genocide into entertainment. You broadcast the murder of children for sport. The galaxy has watched your crimes for too long." "Wait," Thexmar said desperately. "We can discuss terms. We can make agreements. Your species values mercy and justice. Show us mercy." Il-sung looked at the alien leader with eyes as cold as deep space. "You showed no mercy to the 9 million humans on New Busan. You showed no mercy to any of the species you destroyed. You broadcast their deaths for entertainment while your people cheered." He raised his weapon and pointed it at Thexmar. "The galaxy is watching Velkhari. Your people made murder into art. Now they will watch you die. And when you are gone, they will remember that some crimes cannot be forgiven." The last supreme overlord of the Velkhari Empire died, knowing that his species was about to follow him into extinction. Around the galaxy, 47 different civilizations watched humanity deliver justice with cold efficiency. The broadcast continued for 72 hours, the same length of time the Velkari had taken to destroy New Busan. When it ended, there were no Velkari left alive anywhere in the galaxy. Humanity had sent its message. The entertainment was over. 1 year after the destruction of the Velkari Empire, the galaxy was a different place. Ambassador He Jin stood before the Galactic Council on the neutral world of Kepler Prime. Representatives from 47 species sat in the Great Chamber. Some looked at her with respect, others with fear. All of them understood that humanity had changed the rules of galactic civilization forever. Honored delegates, she began in the common galactic language. We gather today to establish new protocols for interstellar conduct. The Velkari Empire is gone. Their reign of terror has ended. But we must ensure that no species ever again turns genocide into entertainment. Chancellor Vorth of the Mandian Republic spoke first. His people had been slaves of the Velkari for 2 centuries. Ambassador, the Mandian people thank humanity for freeing us from our oppressors. But we must ask, what are human intentions now that you possess the most powerful military force in the galaxy? He Jin had expected this question. Every species was wondering the same thing. Humanity had built a fleet capable of destroying entire civilizations. What would they do with that power? Chancellor Vorth, humanity seeks only peace and justice. We did not destroy the Velkari for conquest or territory. We destroyed them because they committed crimes against all sentient life. Our fleet exists to prevent such crimes from happening again. But who decides what constitutes such crimes? Asked Prime Minister Zelth of the Corvani Federation. Who appointed humanity as the judge of galactic morality? The chamber fell silent. This was the heart of the matter. Humanity had appointed itself judge, jury, and executioner. They had wiped out an entire species without trial or negotiation. Prime Minister, He Jin replied carefully, humanity did not seek this responsibility. It was forced upon us when we watched 9 million of our people murdered for entertainment. When we saw other species destroyed for sport, someone had to act. Someone had to say that some crimes are unforgivable. On Earth, President So Jin sat in her office reading reports from across human space. The war with the Velkari was over, but the consequences were just beginning. Every human colony was now a fortress. Every human ship carried weapons that could destroy worlds. Ma'am, her secretary Young Hee announced. Dr. Jae-sung is here for your appointment. Dr. Jae-sung entered looking older than his years. The war had aged everyone who participated in it. President, we have completed our analysis of the former Velkari territories. 47 species were enslaved or oppressed by their empire. All are now free. What are they asking from us? Protection, mostly. They want guarantees that humanity will defend them if new threats emerge. Some are offering to join a human-led alliance. So, Jin looked out her window at the memorial garden. 9 million trees had been planted there, one for each human who died on New Busan. Dr. Jae-sung, are we becoming what we destroyed? Are we becoming an empire? No, ma'am. Empires conquer for profit and power. We conquered for justice. But I understand your concern. Power corrupts even when the original intentions are pure. On the former Velkari homeworld of Thex Karal, archaeologist Dr. Wu Jin led a team studying the ruins of the crystal cities. The planet was empty now, silent. The 40 billion Velkari who had lived here were gone forever. Doctor, his assistant, Li Sua called from across the excavation site. We found another broadcast archive, thousands of hours of recordings. Wu Jin walked over to examine the find. These archives contained the evidence of Velkari crimes, recordings of hundreds, of species being destroyed for entertainment, children being hunted for sport, entire civilizations wiped out while alien audiences cheered. Catalog everything, he ordered. The galaxy needs to remember what the Velkari did. They need to understand why they had to be stopped. Su'a looked, troubled. Doctor, do you ever wonder if we went too far? 40 billion Velkari dead. Not all of them were guilty. Every Velkari adult watched the broadcasts, Wu Jin replied. Every one of them was entertained by genocide. They built a civilization based on the systematic murder of other species. Yes, some were more guilty than others. But they were all part of the machine. He looked out at the empty crystal cities. Besides, the decision was made long ago. When they broadcast the children of New Busan dying for sport, they sealed their fate. Some crimes can only be answered with extinction. Admiral Tae-min had retired from active duty, but he still visited the fleet regularly. Captain Sung-min met him at the lunar shipyards where the great warships waited in silent rows. "How many ships are we maintaining?" Tae-min asked. 200 active vessels, sir. Another 300 in reserve. Enough to fight any combination of galactic powers if necessary. Do you think it will be necessary? Sung-min considered the question. The galaxy is more peaceful now, sir. No species wants to test humanity military capabilities. But there are always new threats emerging, new empires seeking to expand, new groups that might think genocide is acceptable. They walked past the flagship New Busan Vengeance, now serving as a memorial ship. Its weapons had been removed, but its bridge was preserved exactly as it had been during the war. "Sir," Sung-min said quietly, "do you regret what we did?" Tae-min thought about his daughter Eun-ji, who had died on New Busan, about the 9 million humans whose deaths had been broadcast for entertainment, about the trillions of other beings the Velkari had murdered over the centuries. "Captain, I regret that it was necessary. I regret that the galaxy contained a species evil enough to require extinction. But I do not regret stopping them. Someone had to say that some crimes go beyond forgiveness." In a small colony on the edge of human space, former mining foreman Kim Dong-min taught children about the war. His students were young. Most had been born after the Velkari extinction. They struggled to understand how an entire species could be so evil. Teacher Kim asked student Park Jun-seo, "Will humanity ever have to fight another war like that?" "I hope not, Jun-seo. But if we do, we will be ready. The galaxy learned an important lesson when the Velkari died. They learned that humanity will protect innocent life no matter the cost. Even if it means killing billions of people." Kim looked at the young faces staring at him. How could he explain the weight of such decisions to children? Jun-seo, humanity does not want to be the galaxy police. We do not want to judge other species. But sometimes someone has to stand up to evil. Sometimes someone has to say that certain crimes cannot be allowed to continue. He pointed to a picture on the wall showing the New Busan Memorial. 9 million humans died so that aliens could be entertained. Trillions of other beings died the same way over thousands of years. The Velkari turned murder into art. They made genocide into sport. Someone had to stop them. But teacher, what if we become like them? What if power makes us evil too? That is why we remember Jun-seo. That is why we study what happened. That is why we never forget the cost of what we did. Power is dangerous. Justice is dangerous. But sometimes dangerous actions are necessary to protect innocent life. On the anniversary of New Busan destruction, memorial services were held across human space. President So-jin spoke at the main ceremony on Earth. Behind her stood representatives from the 47 species humanity had freed from Valkyrie oppression. Today we remember 9 million humans who died for alien entertainment, she said to the massive crowd. We remember the moment when humanity learned that the galaxy contained evil beyond our imagination. We remember the choice we made to stop that evil, no matter the cost. The crowd was silent. 9 billion humans remembered the broadcasts from New Busan, the children running through burning streets, the families hunted for sport, the 72 hours of systematic murder broadcast to cheering alien audiences. The Valkyrie Empire is gone, So-jin continued. 40 billion aliens died because their species chose to make genocide into entertainment. Some say we went too far. Some say we became monsters ourselves. Perhaps they are right. She paused and looked out at the sea of human faces. But I would rather be a monster that protects innocent life than a civilization that allows genocide for entertainment. I would rather be feared for our justice than loved for our weakness. The crowd erupted in applause, not celebration, something deeper. Recognition that humanity had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. They had become the species that other species feared, the ones who decided which crimes deserved extinction. We are not the same people we were before New Busan, So-jin concluded. We never will be again. The galaxy made us into something harder, something colder, something willing to commit absolute justice when faced with absolute evil. We did not choose this burden, but we will carry it. We will be the ones who say that some crimes cannot be forgiven. We will be the ones who ensure that genocide is never again broadcast as entertainment. As the ceremony ended, people walked quietly through the memorial garden. 9 million trees rustled in the wind, each one a life lost, each one a reason why. Humanity had become what it was now. The galaxy was peaceful. Species traded and explored and built civilizations without fear of being hunted for sport. Children of 100 different worlds grew up safe from the entertainment broadcasts that had once terrorized the stars. But everyone knew the price of that peace. Everyone understood what humanity had become to protect it, the species that had destroyed an entire empire to avenge 9 million dead.